Hey, so welcome to today's video, which is about the 2020 Tim Hortons Roll Up the Rim campaign.
Roll Up the Rim is back March 11th, this year with more ways to play than ever.
The big change about the Roll Up the Rim campaign this year is there's actually two campaigns going on simultaneously. So if you haven't watched it yet, I actually have a video about the 2019 campaign, and the theme of my video for 2019 were how the odds for the Roll Up the Rim were absolutely terrible. And if you haven't watched that video, I go through all of the odds for my region as an example, and then go through what it's actually costing you to buy that cup of Tim Hortons coffee versus something else. And essentially, how much are you paying to play Roll Up the Rim instead of just getting a cup of coffee? Usually Roll Up the Rim, I think, runs about 8 to 10 weeks historically. This year, it's actually only running 4 weeks total. So the first big change is that it's only running for about half the time it normally does. And the cup campaign itself is actually only running for 2 of the 4 weeks. The first 2 weeks, you can do the cup campaign or the digital campaign. This, I guess I'll call it the cup campaign and the digital or the phone campaign, because it is actually 2 different contests running at the same time. The 2 contests completely separate and have completely separate prizes. So for the cup campaign, it actually only runs 2 of the 4 weeks of Roll Up the Rim this year. So for the first 2 weeks of the contest, you can play the Cup Roll Up Classic campaign, and for the entire 4 weeks of the campaign, you can use the digital method. In terms of the number of entries you get, they actually have a third element they've added. So it's not just paper, it's not just digital. They also have a reusable cup option. So for the first 2 weeks, the only 2 weeks that the paper cup is eligible, if you go in to Tim Hortons, if you buy the paper cup option, you obviously have the roll to roll up on your cup. If you also present your Tim's card app or card, you then get a second entry in the digital game. But if you bring your own reusable cup and have your Tim Cards app, you actually get 3 chances to win. So just doing it the old-fashioned way, 1 chance. Doing it the old-fashioned way and then also using your Tim Card account, 2 chances. Not using a paper cup and using a reusable cup that you bring, you get 3 chances. With the reusable cups this year, what they're trying to do, promote it, is the day before Roll Up the Rim starts, March 10th, they will be giving away millions of reusable cups, so you have a reusable cup before the contest starts on March 11th. Now, you don't need to use the Tim Hortons reusable cup. You can use any reusable cup. Obviously, they're trying to incentivize people to use a reusable cup. This is great that Tim Hortons has finally done this. Admittedly, though, they only have a 10-year plan to try to make their products more sustainable. So if they're incentivizing you to get more entries in the digital game, but there's still a concurrent paper cup version going on, where are your odds better? The cup campaign, just like every other year, has a certain number of cups printed with winner or loser on them. Then the cups are sent out into the world to 5 different regions in Canada. Thus, you're able to give actual odds to the campaign. For example, I live in Atlantic Canada. I know, we love it. It's great, I assure you. Come visit. But the odds of winning a Jeep are over 1 in 9 million. If you don't know about Atlantic Canada, we're not that big. I'll look it up, but I would guess we're probably about 3.5 million people. So that means there's 1 Jeep for less than all of us. Now, obviously, some people buy Tim Hortons every day, but the odds are very, very small. Now, that's the paper cup odds. The odds for the digital may be better, may be worse. For your odds of winning a car in the digital way, they can't actually calculate odds because there's not a set number of digital entries. Instead, they just say it depends on how many entries there actually are, which totally makes sense because if it's digital, they don't print a certain number of digital websites. It's just how many ever people enter. One other quirky thing about the contest too, when you read the rules, it actually states that your digital entries you receive, you can actually transfer those entries to family members. Now, you're wondering maybe if there's not a set number, how the digital system lets you win a prize or not. With the digital system, it's actually broken down into different play periods during Roll Up the Rim. It's sort of this random timed draw that you immediately know about. So really, if you're doing the digital format and most people are only doing the paper cup format, you might actually have better odds in the digital format than you do in the paper cup format. However, if there's more people doing the digital, and they might be because they get the paper cup and a digital one, even if they're using the paper cup and willing to scan their app, or they're getting 3 entries just by using the reusable cup, they also reduce the prize pool and your odds got worse. And don't forget, if you win any of the big prizes, the rules in Canada are that you have to answer a skill testing question to win your prize. Now, I don't think they're ever going to create a circumstance where you don't get to win the car when you rolled up the car. They're going to make the skill testing question quite easy. But the rules in Canada are they can't just have a randomized system by having something that you buy and you roll up the rim and win. That's why every contest in Canada has a skill testing question. Now, the secret method that no one really talks about is that you can always enter any contest in Canada without paying or buying something to enter. That's just the rules and all companies have to comply to it. So the secret way you can enter Roll Up the Rim is that you can actually mail in and request either a digital entry, which they will email to you, or you request a paper entry, which they will mail back to you. But for that circumstance, you do have to include the postage for them to mail your entry back. So for a contest like Roll Up the Rim, where you can enter by buying a $1.39 coffee, depending where you live, you're paying $1 for the stamp and paper to mail in your entry to get your entry. But I am gonna do it this year just to see what it's like. In summary, what should you do? You know, personally, I try not to use paper coffee cups or anything disposable. That doesn't mean I don't like to buy a coffee, but I would encourage you to at least go the digital way where you get more entries. That might make it a little more fun, that you have more chances of winning if you are gonna participate and Roll Up the Rim. But just remember that these odds are very small. If you hear someone winning, that doesn't mean that your odds are really any better, or it doesn't mean that the contest is actually worth entering. All of this is designed as a marketing campaign. This is not charity by Tim Hortons. This is actually a huge revenue and huge customer draw for them. And they're there to sell us a product and make money off it. So if nothing else, I hope you really enjoyed this video and learned a little bit more about how contests and Tim Hortons and Roll Up the Rim works in Canada. If you like this video, please, if you can click the like button or share it with your family and friends who are absolutely Tim Hortons fanatics. And I have a question for you. What is your Tim's coffee go-to? Are you just straight black? Are you a dark black? Are you a classic double-double? What is the correct way to drink a Tim Hortons coffee? Are you one of those team triple people? Are you a French cappuccino, French vanilla, whatever it's called these days? I know it's always been called that, but I'm old. Are you an ice cap? Why can't we have an entry on an ice cap? Sometimes I'll hit up an ice cap. Who knows? But thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think and what you like to order at Tim Hortons. Personally, I'd probably go for a dark black, but I know that's pretty boring too. But thank you very much for watching this today. I hope you all have a fabulous winter. Spring is around the corner here in Canada, and I'll see you next time. Bye!